I generated six figures from online business in my early 20s. And one of the biggest threats I see to people's finances is buy now, pay later programs. Now, it looks harmless to split a purchase into multiple payments with no interest or little interest, but the truth is, this is a trap and it's creating a financial crisis among millions of Americans. Number one, buy now, pay later normalizes living beyond your means, right? And we think of this as a principle, right? But living with beyond your means, what does that actually mean? It means that you have people that are buying things that they can't afford, right? And it's this idea that, okay, I'm going to pay it back later. And what happens is when you carry those type of principles into all these different areas, right? Whether that's buying a new phone, right? Buying a house, a car, if you can even afford, right, a house, but a car, sneakers, right? Any of these expenses that you run into, right? What happens is you're literally building up poor financial habits because just because you can buy something and pay for it later doesn't mean you should, right? If you can't buy that thing at least two times over and be comfortable, you probably can't afford it or should wait until you have the money necessary to just buy it outright. And especially also too, you have to remember to make these type of payments. And imagine you have 10, 20 of these different things where you're making small payments, you lose track of them, right? And it just becomes also just a headache to deal with, right? And this, of course, just makes overspending way more effortless, right? But their marketing in these companies, it looks good, right? It looks good, it sounds good, but you have to be careful, right? And it really trains people to live on future money instead of their current money. Number two, stacking payments creates hidden debt. Now, think about it like this, right? And we kind of hinted at it in our prior point. When you have 5, 10, 20 of these, right? How are you going to actually track this? I mean, just because they're small payments, but literally think about how much, money that altogether all of these small things could take out of your account. It could easily be hundreds to even thousands of dollars getting taken out, probably monthly, and hopefully you're paying the amount necessary. But if you have to log into all these different websites, track to see what you're paying, that's a huge problem, right? Most people can't even already track what they're spending in the first place. And if you have these type of habits, it's probably only going to get worse, right? And then people wonder, where's my paycheck right at the end of the month? And what happens is, you have all of these expenses that you're not accounting for, and that just creates a financial headache, right? And suddenly, half your paycheck is gone and you're living paycheck to paycheck like every other American, or at least the majority of them, right? And we always say that it's not a money problem. A lot of times it's a money management problem. So it's not about how much you make, but it's about how much you allocate to certain areas, right? Expenses, needs, savings, investings, all these different areas, right? So it's important to take account of these things. Now, number three, the illusion of no interest. Now, a lot of people, right, and companies market this as free. Now, buy now, pay later, right? I'm sure some of them charge interest, right? Because there are multiple different companies. Let's say there are some that do and some that don't, right? What you have to remember is even if there is no interest, what I bet there is late fees and penalties for not paying on time. So technically, right? Sure, you buy this item that's $1,000. We're gonna put you on, 10 months, right? You have 10 payments, $100, right? Let's just say that, right? So after ten months, right, that's your $1,000. But what happens is when you're not tracking, you have all of these different things going, you miss a payment, I bet you they're going to charge you for missing that payment. And that's where the problem really lies, right? So it's not, okay, just interest in and of itself, because some of them might not even charge interest. For example, if you buy an Apple iPhone, what's interesting is they actually don't charge interest what if you're, doing a payment plan. But I bet you if you look at the fine print and you miss one of those payments, they are going to be charging you more for sure, right? And penalties definitely hit hard, right? And missing one payment, think about how much you would actually have to additionally spend on that item. And that's the trap where they get you, because this may be the price that you have to pay today. But if you think long term, right, number one, inflation, so your money is actually worth less than it is. And number two, you're going to have these different penalties that you have to pay for. So you can't say that it's not a no cost, right? It's really deferring the cost until a later period of time, and a lot of times even paying more for what you actually are going to buy, and also the headaches that come with it, which is definitely a problem that you don't want to run into, right? And already, if you're running into these issues, just your spending in general is probably not on point, right? And especially if you're watching this, right, and you are interested in, generating financial freedom. You've always been interested in things like YouTube or online business, but you've never known where to start. And you want to learn from someone who's generated 6+ figures from online business, talking about topics that they love to talk about every single day, and you don't even have to show your face. Click the link in the description down below. Now, number 4, it kills your financial awareness, right? Now, if you think about traditional credit cards, balances, right, and interest, you can see all of these things, right? It's much easier, right? You have a credit card, you can see what you spent at the end of the month, and boom, that's it. But a lot of these buy now, pay later programs actually can hide a lot of these things that you're paying for, whether it's in, specific apps or emails, and it makes it a way easier to ignore. And don't get me wrong, some people still don't check their credit card statements, but let's say you're getting 1,000 emails, you have a huge inbox, you don't check your emails, how easily are you going to miss one of those emails that you're supposed to be spending, right? And again, it just continues to lead to the frustration that a lot of Americans have. And you see, right, people talk about the price of groceries, right? Inflation, shrinkflation, right? The things that they're buying, they're charging more and getting less, right? You have all these different areas that you really have to look at the core of people's finances before you even look at the external. Now, yes, inflation for sure is a factor, but you can't control what you can't see, right? And what you can control is your actions, what you spend your money on, especially when it comes to the wants that you have, right? So you have to have the visibility if you want to have any sort of financial success. Now, number 5, and this is one a lot of people don't realize, it's addictive, right? Imagine you can buy a plane, a house, a new car, all these different things within a day. How much dopamine do you think your brain is getting from that when you're buying all of these things? It's a ton, right? And it's exciting. But what's not exciting is managing all of the payments, right? And definitely with a lot of these, they have these quick approvals that you can get, right? The instant gratification. And then what do they know? They know that they have you hooked, right? This is basically no different than a loan, right? And they know that they have you hooked. And what happens is, right, it's engineered so that it feels so effortless. It feels painless when you're buying the thing. But it's really they're making their money on the back end, right? And it's less about helping you, and it's really more about training you to be a consumer, right? To keep buying these things that you don't need, again, to impress people that you don't even really care about, right? But that's how they build these applications and these softwares to trick you into doing those things and buying those things that you really don't need. Number 6, the long-term fallout is brutal, right? Now, when people get stuck into this cycle, you can't build savings, you can't invest, you're not going to have an emergency fund, right? If something happens, you get into a car accident, you get in trouble, right? Someone passes away, all these different things, all these problems you can run into, you literally have no way of solving them. Which, what do you think that does to your mental health, to your physical health? You literally feel even worse about yourself and your situation and what's going on, right? And especially when the economy tightens, right? Inflation keeps going up, right? And you have even more problems, right? Your credit score can tank, It makes it harder for you to buy things, to even get decent loans if you need it. And you can quickly see how, especially if any of them do charge interest, okay, boom, you're paying more for something. You've been paying it for years. You still have you could still have student loans, but the debt just almost snowballs. And especially if you're someone who doesn't want to look at your spending and all of these different areas that you're putting money towards, trust me, you will feel the pain eventually when you try to buy something and your credit is messed up, or you're basically in a situation to where you can't dictate, right, what you want to do with your money, because even if you have the money, you just have a history of not being able to pay things back. And it's not just a personal problem. This is really a systemic problem that these companies are preying on people's nature and exploiting, again, this consumerism and this mindset that people have that they always need the next thing. And it's only going to continue to grow. But now you're aware. And if you're interested in learning more about these financial topics, click the video on the screen now.